Hey guys, my name is Tamar Meisels. I'm a Jewish wife and mother living in Israel, and today's video is about human suffering. This is one of life's most fundamental questions. Why do humans suffer? Or more specifically, why do good people, righteous people suffer? And I want to provide you with some Jewish perspective on this topic. A little bit of an introduction. In Monotheism, we believe in one all-powerful single force who is a kind and just God. And if we didn't believe this, we wouldn't raise this question. We would have no expectations. If we believed in God, several forces of gods, or in atheism, for example, where everything is random, so you don't have any expectations, and therefore you don't raise this question. Now, you'd expect Jews, as God's representatives in this world, not to ask so many questions, or to sort of accept and defend God and his ways in this world, but this isn't the case. Jews actually ask very difficult questions and even argue with God directly. There's several cases of our forefathers asking these questions. Prophets in the Bible, two examples of this are Abraham says to God, "Shall the judge of the universe not do justice?" And Moses at the burning bush says, "Why have you brought trouble upon these people?" But actually asking this question shows the most hope. As Rabbi Jonathan Sachs says, to ask is to believe that somewhere there's an answer. This question about unjust suffering in the world is a famous Jewish question we call tzadiq viralo, someone who's a tzaddik, a righteous person, who has bad things and unjust things happening. And many of our scholars throughout the generations attempted to answer this question. And most religious reasoning tries to diminish one of the sides. Maybe he's not really righteous. No human in this world is without sin. Or perhaps the bad, the evil, is not really bad. Maybe in perspective of time and place, it's not really that bad. The Lubavitcher Rebbe, for example, gives a story where a man is walking and he sees people cutting open someone's stomach, and he sees blood rushing out, and it looks like they're killing him. When in fact, they're actually they're doctors performing surgery on this man and saving his life. So this is an example of where the bad isn't really bad. Let's zoom out a moment in our world and think about our world where there is no human suffering. Free choice is a fundamental basic principle. We abide by laws, we have freedom of choice to perform these commandments, and we have punishment and reward. And if our world didn't have any unrighteous suffering, meaning good people and good deeds were automatically rewarded, and bad people or bad actions were given punishment, that would automatically take away freedom of choice. And another way in which suffering is needed in this world is we're here in this world as partners with God to improve the world and improve ourselves. And if there's no human suffering and no suffering in the world, where does that leave us room to grow the world? And for at an individual level, where do we have personal growth? We're here in this world to improve ourselves and to grow and to elevate our soul. And our sages teach us that the greater the challenge, the greater the opportunity in this world. Also, is pain really bad? Think about your own challenge that you faced in your past. Looking back at it from today's perspective, how do you view that challenge? How did you grow from it? And a lot of people say that challenges that they face, they see that in perspective of time, it helped them in a way grow as individuals, understand other people's suffering, grow closer to God. And not all people, but a lot of people say these things, and that's just one individual in a short perspective of time. So we don't see the entire puzzle, several generations and the entire world. We're just looking at our own personal perspective. An important distinction must be made between the theoretical question of human suffering and the actual person suffering and how they're dealing with it. even we feel our own pain and others' pain in this world so deeply that even if theoretically we understand why suffering is needed in this world, or in perspective of time is for growth, we feel it so deeply that when we are suffering, these questions and answers don't help us. Instead, we have to ask more practical questions like, how can I go on living with such a thing happened to me, or how can I grow from this? And a lot of people do answer that they comfort in helping others in similar situations or growing from it, and also comfort in knowing that God is with you, and there's no mistakes that were made. This is the exact challenge that he wanted to give you. Like King David says, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. So knowing that God is with you is a big comfort to these people. At the end of the day, the bottom line is we live in a world where action is required. And if we let ourselves accept all these answers, we may be making peace with it. And ultimately, in our world, our job is to make sure to not be at peace with good people suffering, and to work to create a world in which no suffering exists. Thank you.